Good morning. Oh, that was loud. Welcome to Unity of Hagerstown. Come together, heart and soul, as we love together. Young and old, we will sing together, together in one song. Come together, from different worlds we are drawn together. In our own way we can pray together. Together we are strong. I see God in you. You see God in me. One path, one vision, one family. Come together, dreams and hands we will join together to build a place we can grow together. Together we are whole. I see God in you. You see God in me. One path, one vision, one family. Come together, heart and soul, as we love together. Young and old, we will sing together, together in one song. Together we are strong. Together in one song.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, thank you. And good morning, Unity of Hagerstown. I'm feeling like it's a little loud, is it? Yeah, can you turn me down a little bit, Ann? I am mic 3. That's what you get when you don't do a sound check. Anyway, we're all good now. Is that a better volume? And I hope people watching virtually can hear me as well. If not, just either put a message in the comment section, or you could maybe send me a text, but I may not see it during the service. So welcome to this wonderful first day of being in our space. I know. It feels good, doesn't it? And yes, we've been here for many years, but we've shared this space and joyfully did. But now it is our space. And I can't wait to see what unfolds with that. So let's begin with an opening prayer. Although that song felt like a prayer to me, didn't it? So we'll come together now, heart to heart and soul to soul, with the understanding that there is one presence, one God, active in the universe and active in my life. With each breath I breathe, I inhale peace. With each exhale, I let go of any worries, any concerns. We gather here today to grow, to share, to laugh, to be. We gather here to deepen our connection with Spirit, with each other. And so let us let any anything that clouds that to be released. Whether it's fear or personalities, just let it go as we are here together. We open our hearts to the movement and activity of spirit within, and we give thanks for the wisdom and love that comes forth. Amen. Yes. So this is Native American Heritage Month, and we have a quote here from Joy Harjo. Bless the poets, the workers for justice, the dancers of ceremony, the singers of heartache, the visionaries, all makers and carriers of fresh meaning. We will all make it through despite politics and wars, despite failures and misunderstandings. There is only love. And for those who may not know, she was the first Native American poet laureate for the United States. And now our mission statement. Together, Unity of Hagerstown, a welcoming community, embraces spiritual awakening through affirmative prayer and meditation, creating a positive path for abundant living for all. And now we have the reading of the Daily Word with Arnie. And as he comes up and settles in, we're going to just remind you that the Daily Word you can get virtually and have it land in your email inbox every day. A little bit of inspiration to go with your morning coffee. Arnie?
Good morning. The word for the day is balance. Sometimes trying to balance my schedule, meet my obligations, and even find time for things I enjoy can leave me scrambling to figure out how to fit it all in. Today I take my cue from nature and notice the rhythm of seasons and the tides, the cycles of growth, and the order that underlies all things. I appreciate how seamlessly the natural world balances itself and restores itself to harmony. This gift of harmony and balance lives in me, and I honor myself when I flow with it instead of forcing my will upon it. I listen to my body's many signals, and I rest when I'm tired, eat when I'm hungry, and socialize and seek solitude as I need to. As I care for myself, I find balance. Ecclesiastes 8:15 reads, "For there is nothing better for people under the sun than to eat and drink and enjoy themselves." And let's reflect on the message for the day and say it all together. I honor life's shiftings, rhythms. Breathe that in, think about it. Let all that worries go and let balance flow. And one more time. I honor life's shifting rhythms. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Today is the day I will change my luck. I will find 3 pennies and they'll be heads up. I will walk like a queen in my sneakers and jeans, 'cause I know where I come from. From the stars and the sun, from that magical one, I am part of this thing called life. From the known to unseen, everything in between, I am part of this thing called life. I am one with this thing called life. Yes, today is the day I'll remember to see only good, only God happening through you and me. I will not forget all the treasures due me, 'cause I know where I come from. From the stars and the sun, from that magical one, I am part of this thing called life. To the known, to unseen, everything in between, I am part of this thing called life. I am one with this thing called life. Yes, today is the day I'll be more of myself, love my skin where I've been and everyone else. No more push, no more pull, simply go as I flow, 'cause I know where I come from. From the stars and the sun to that magical one, I am part of this thing called life. From the known to unseen, everything in between, I am part of this thing called life. From the stars and the sun to that magical one, I am part of this thing called life. From the known to unseen, everything in between, I am part of this thing called life. I am one with this thing called life. I am loved by this thing called life.
Woohoo! Yes. Yes. My new favorite song, I think. I love that. Thank you guys so very much. So we are continuing with our series on the beloved community, and just to refresh our memories, the beloved community is a place where we endeavor to grow in compassion for ourselves, for each other, and deepen our understanding of oneness, of the one, if you will. We've looked at blocks to growing the beloved community in the past few weeks, and we're going to look at a different aspect. But those blocks that were there to grow the beloved community are also the blocks that individually we may face in growing along our spiritual life, because the community is made up of people, right? So there's no surprise there. There's two main reasons to be in a spiritual community, and one is to develop a greater awareness of love and support for others. The other is to join others on a mystical path. Now, each world tradition, each faith tradition may have a different definition of what that may look like, but in essence, it's to know God, to know the one. The soul's deepest desire, I believe, is to know God. In Matthew 6:33, our elder brother says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven." To know God, seek ye first. And then, of course, all these things will be added unto you. That's not a bad plus, is it? So we know from the Aramaic, though, that kingdom that Jesus was talking about is within and all around us. It's everywhere present. From Matthew 6:8, we also read, "Your Father knows what you need before you ask." Now, many may interpret that to think that God knows our health conditions, our financial portfolio, and maybe even whether or not we need a job. But I think it may mean something perhaps in addition to that, but definitely it's what our soul needs, to know God. To know God, we have to disengage even momentarily from the ego. Prayer, meditation, and contemplation, along with other spiritual practices, these all help reliably to get us to grow in understanding of the divine. It's not an act of will, like I'm going to know God. It's more of an opening, a surrender, if you will. It may be also a time of waiting, too. So perhaps one of the most beloved Christian mystics that we may be familiar with, known for his love of animals, St. Francis. It's said that he preached to the birds and he pulled a thorn out of a wolf's paw. He wrote, "When we pray, we must be seeking nothing. Nothing." So we're not seeking for the financial reward. We're not seeking for the new house necessarily, but it's in an unfolding that comes from within. That is that mystical experience. According to Evelyn Underhill, who was a mystic, and she also wrote the book on mysticism. There are 3 types of contemplation that can bring us to a mystical experience. Contemplating nature, whether it's an ant or the Alps, just contemplating the natural world. Buddha said if we could see the miracle of a single flower, our whole life would change. And then the second is contemplating the metaphysical world, that which our eyes don't see. And this is the state of loving what is, of acceptance, of non-judgment, of witnessing the inner workings of the mind. Didn't mean to go crazy there. Contemplation of divine reality is the third method that she recognizes as far as using contemplation for that mystical entrance. And that's a combination of the two, the natural world and the metaphysical world as well. And again, it's a setting aside of our own will so that we can be a channel or a vessel of what is already within us. Absolute love. Alan Watts, the Zen Buddhist, says, "But I'll tell you what hermits realize. If you go into a far, far forest and get very quiet, you'll come to understand that you're connected with everything." And my friends, I believe that if you get quiet, whether you're in the forest or the parking lot of a Walmart, if you can quiet the mind, then you're going to come to the same realization. So the title of this lesson is Joining the Mystical. And we join the mystical path when we get serious about our own practices. Serious, let's not use that word. When we become more dedicated to our own spiritual practices, making time out for our meditation, our prayer, our contemplation, or just inserting it throughout the day. It's like, oh, look at that tree, and just contemplate it. We also join our mystical path with our practical, our daily lives as well, and see how they interconnect. We cultivate the inner life and strive to live a happy life on the outside, right? And then we join others along the mystical path in our community. Now, you may be wondering what a mystic is, and maybe you're not. That's okay either way. But I'm going to give you a definition from Jim Lockhart. He says, a mystic is a person who has mastered or is in the process of mastering the realization of the inner power of consciousness. So in other words, we don't have to be totally enlightened before we can have a mystical experience, okay? We're in the process of mastering that inner power of consciousness. And we know that so within, so without, our consciousness is creating our life's experience. So our practice, our spiritual practices, cultivates our intuition, our compassion, and our discernment. I recently heard an aspect of intuition that I really, really liked. It's to know how to be kind. We think of intuition as something that leads us here and there, but maybe it's our intuition that leads us to being kind, to speaking words of compassion. Just something to contemplate, if you will. So Lockhart goes on to write that the richness of mystical experiences, especially in community, brings a joy to living, a richness and a depth that is impossible for those who do not get a sense of the mystical in their lives. Ernest Holmes tells us, when the scientists finally reach the mountaintops of understanding, they will find the mystics waiting for them. You know, we all seek meaning in life, a meaning that is revealed through our connections and a greater sense of oneness as well, I believe. And this is why when we seek more and more material goods, it often comes up stale or flat for us. The soul is fed by experiencing the mystical with its depth, its beauty, its mystery, its sense of connection. The beloved community, of which I believe we have a beloved community, brings a balance of the everyday, the daily life, and the mystical, seeing both aspects of the same whole. So the church models this, if you will, because there is a business side to the church And then there's a mystical side to the church. And the individuals in the community model that back to the community as well. The nature of the mystical realm is infinite. It's eternal, so that there's always more to learn, to grow. The need for spiritual growth never goes away. The mystical realization is of oneness. Jesus said, I and my Father are one. The Sufi poet, or Sufi mystic really, Rumi said, I and my beloved are one. The Upanishads say, you are yourself the divine mystery you wish to know. And the Sanskrit mantra, Tattvan Asi, is the expression of the relationship of the individual and the absolute. In the 1300s, a Hindu poet, Laleshwari, wrote, when the mirror of my mind became clear, I saw that God is not other than me, and this non-dual knowledge completely destroyed all thought of you and I. I came to know that this entire world is not different from God. In the late 1400s, probably the most renowned woman poet saint of India was born. She was born a princess. As a young girl, she had an arranged marriage, but shortly after her wedding, her husband died, and she found herself going to the temples of the land. She was visiting the temples where the lower caste had attended, and so her in-laws were outraged with her mingling and singing and dancing and even embracing these untouchables. They tried to kill her. Times were different then. In her 30s, she renounced her title and fled and began traveling in the northwestern part of India on foot. She was a champion of human rights, especially women's rights, and often exposed the hypocrisy of the Orthodox religion and the caste system and the chauvinistic oppression as well. Mirabai spent the last few years of her life attending the poor and writing poetry. She wrote, in my travels, I spent time with a great yogi. Once he said to me, become so still you hear the blood flowing through your veins. One night, as I sat in quiet, I seemed on the verge of entering a world inside so vast, I know it is the source of all of us. So we've been using the story of Lewis and Clark's expedition as an analogy for growing the beloved community. And it might be a little bit of a stretch, but they came across unexpected obstacles like the Rockies. And a community is always going to come across unexpected obstacles like the rent tripling or whatever, And they also had inner sabotage in their expedition party. And we may also experience inner sabotage, not necessarily in the community, although that might happen, but it's usually with the inner critic, right? That's our inner sabotage. So we're going to continue this analogy today. The search for the Northwest Passage began long before President Jefferson commissioned the expedition. For centuries, European rulers were drooling over the riches of the Far East. And so when the Americas were discovered, they thought, we'll be able to get to the Far East easier. They really didn't pay attention to the discovery of the new land and the riches it held until centuries later. They only wanted to go to Asia. So one of the values of discovery, according to a famous historian, Dr. Friedman, is that we begin to see the world and ourselves differently from what we had before. If you stop and think about when the belief of the earth being flat was prevalent, and then it was discovered that it was not, we begin to see things differently. And the expedition with Lewis and Clark began to really see the vastness and richness of this beautiful land. It may have brought more questions than it answered, But you know, our own spiritual journey can be like that too. Our communal meditation and prayer times provide a platform for a mystical experience. Not everybody is going to have one all the time, or even ever, I don't know. But these mystical experiences may not necessarily answer all the questions we have, but they also leave us changed in some way. We learn from them. We learn who we are. We learn about the nature of absolute reality. Ernest Holmes tells us the mystics have taught that there is but one ultimate reality, and that this ultimate reality is here now if we could but see it. So we bring our mystical life into our daily life and see that they are connected. They're intertwined. Jim Lockhart tells us we dance between worlds. We have our analytical capacities, which are well suited to the physical realm, but are inadequate to fully explain even the visible structure of reality. The mystical realm is the realm of mystery. So the mystical realm transcends the physical, and it can't be understood from an analytical standpoint. It's more of being. We know this. It's more being. There's more to being human than our five senses. The mystical realm uses those other senses. When we access this realm, we are infused with life, with love, with more zest, more energy. And it's here that we have the opportunity to grow, to really know, instead of just having intellectual knowledge, that we are spirit, to really understand that we are one on a visceral level, not just intellectual understanding. Our brains can know it, but until we experience it, we won't really know it. So one of the main purposes of a spiritual community is to cultivate a greater awareness of our mystical spiritual self, diving into the mystic. When we prioritize our spiritual practices, no matter what they are, and meditation is arguably perhaps the most effective for that mystical experience. This serves, those spiritual practices of the individual serves to help support the community. The expanded perspective gained from our practices, the greater sense of connection, the deeper awareness of love and compassion, all gained from our spiritual practices develops the beloved community. And just as the blocks to the beloved community are the same as blocks to the growth of the individual, the practices that grow in our awareness for an individual are also the means for growing the community. Let me say that again. I kind of stumbled over that one. Just as the blocks in our spiritual journey keep us feeling stuck individually and within the community, when we have those mystical experiences, whether individually or communal, that's what helps grow the community. When we recognize the value of stillness with activities like meditation and prayer, contemplation, we spiritually expand. When we go deep within, our lives become deeper. When we expand and deepen, we move into a more loving, more creative, more powerful version of ourselves. Jim Lockhart says that from this emergence, the reality of the beloved community is strengthened. From that place of awareness and realization, we are ready to serve the larger world from an authentic sense of contribution. So we're posed right now, this community is posed at the threshold of an exciting year. We have a year with this space to develop this ministry, to develop and expand and deepen this community. So our meditation today is going to be kind of two-part. There'll be a guided meditation, and then you may have noticed the tables. There's 4 tables around. After the guided portion of the meditation, I'll invite you to go whenever you feel like it to any table you want. And let me explain what are at these stations. You'll see this sign, this symbol. This is the mythical African symbol, the Sankofa. And this is a bird looking backwards but bringing with them the egg that was in the back. So at this station, you're going to be invited to write down something that is in unity of Hagerstown's past that you would like to see brought forward, and then just leave it in the little heart box there on the table. And then we have the cow. Now the cow is known for chewing its cud. So at this table, there are affirmations that you can pick up and contemplate. Chew it over. See how it fits with you. And then we have the fish. Fish metaphysically are ideas. So on this station, there are some paper fish cut out, and I'm inviting you to write down ideas that you would like to see in this community. Either qualities of being, if you'd like to see more harmony, more peace, more love, more compassion, or there may be something like a special event that you'd like to see. Either way, whatever your heart is leading you to. And then finally, the 4th station is the fox. In the Apache tale, the fox stole fire from the firefly and brought it to warm humanity, to warm the world. So on this station, there's nothing to write down, but just for you to check your heart to see what it is that you bring to warm the world, to warm this community. And just sit with it for a while, or stand with it for a while if you're at the table, and just see yourself being that quality. I'm not saying cookies, okay? I'm saying a quality of being. Whatever that looks like for you. So is that clear on what we're doing with that? There are descriptions at each table as well. And if you're watching from home and you'd like to join in this part of the meditation as well, just go right ahead and do it on your own. We will feel you energetically, and it will be a contribution to the community. So as we begin, let's say together our affirmation. Together, I hear the mystical words, I am, and know that I and my Father are one. And as we settle in and making any adjustments as needed, I invite you to take a nice deep breath, closing your eyes or gazing softly at the ground in front of you, and exhaling any tension that the body may be holding. And continue to breathe deeply for a couple breaths, and continue to exhale any stress, any worry, any concern. Focusing on your heart space, I invite you to silently say, I am. I am. I am that. One with the one. One heart, one mind. We express the one love, the one wisdom. we continue to settle in, as we continue to focus, I invite you to let your heart fill in the blank. I am. What is it that you are? I am spirit. I am love. And with each time your heart answers, allow that quality of being to grow. If something comes to mind that you'd rather not grow in your life, then shift your thought from it. Instead of thinking, I am sick, I am whole. In spirit, with spirit, as spirit. I am. And whenever you feel like you're ready to walk the stations, I invite you to do so. now we have another song with Brent and Patty. If you're still walking the stations, that's quite all right. You can continue to do so.
There is one love. There is one power. There is one life eternal. God lives through me. There is one love. There is one power. There is one life eternal. God lives through me. I am that love. I am that power. I am that life eternal. God lives through me. There is one love. There is one power. There is one life eternal. God lives through me. I am that love. I am that power. I am that life eternal. God lives through me. God lives through me. God lives through me.
Thank you, Brent and Patty. And just if you, after the service, I would invite you to go around and see what ideas that the fish brought. I can't wait to see what's written there. And if you didn't have a chance to complete your rounds, then feel free to do that after the service as well. So let's join together in this affirmation. Together, I open my heart to the unexpected gifts of community. And our offertory prayer. Together, we affirm infinite abundance continuously flowing into and within this ministry through Spirit, expressing through infinite channels. And we affirm the wisdom, understanding, and discernment in all matters as directed by Spirit within. We bless the gifts that are received today, and we bless the givers, and so it is. Now we'll have another song.
God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Joy. Joy is my source. Joy is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. Peace. Peace is my source. Peace is my power. Peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything I need. And love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Yes. Please be seated. Please be seated. So we do have a few announcements today. The dinner with the ancestors that was going to happen Tuesday is canceled. So if you had registered for that, just don't show up. Safi did not have enough people sign up for it to make it a go. So Wednesday, the 9th, we're having our mandala painting class. I'm so excited by this. So if you are planning on coming, just make sure you sign up in the foyer on the clipboard so I know that you're here so we can set up for you. And again, you do not have to be a professional painter to do this. I am very far from a professional painter, but I can do it. So I hope you join me. And then on the 12th, which is a Saturday, we're having our work day with St. Mark's. In our contract, we have agreed to 4 work days throughout the year. If you can make it, that's great. I think they're having donuts and coffee as a little incentive. And then our Thanksgiving potluck will be here upstairs in this space on the 20th of November. And on that very same day, the Interfaith Thanksgiving service will happen at 4:30 at St. Anne Roman Catholic Church. So if you can make either of those or both of those, it would be a wonderful day of thanks. Now, we do have a few volunteer opportunities, and if you're interested in serving this community, first of all, I thank you, and second of all, see me. See me after church. I'll get you hooked up. So with that, we're going to say goodbye to our wonderful Facebook friends. We love you. We behold the Christ in you. We see you radiating and jumping and dancing for joy. Okay. Okay, very good. Thank you, Anne. Anne has